Tonight, shocking and disturbing new developments into how convicted sex offender John Gardner III was able to stay out of prison and allegedly hunt for more victims. This man violated his parole for molesting a 13-year-old girl in 2000. He violated it time and time and time again, but they never took him off the streets. Gardner is charged with rape and murder in the death of 17-year-old Chelsea King. She was attacked and killed last month while jogging in a San Diego park. And now cops are looking at him for the murder of 14-year-old Amber Dubois. Her remains were found last week, not too far from where Chelsea was discovered. Listen to John Gardner in court this week.
Has Mr. Gardner been advised of those rights?
He has, Your Honor.
Mr. Gardner, do you understand those rights?
Yes.
Do you agree to waive time for your preliminary examination?
Yes.
Parole records show Gardner was caught living too close to a school in 2007. Plus, he had at least 6 other violations. 6! Let's not forget that he was living just a couple of miles from Escondido High School when Amber Dubois disappeared in February of 2009.
How many times do our daughters need to be raped before we put these monsters behind bars forever?
Straight out to my fantastic panel. Criminal defense attorney Mark Eiglarsh, former criminal investigator Steve Cardian, psychotherapist Jen Berman, and we're honored to have tonight Aaron Runyon. Thank you so much for joining us, Aaron. Aaron's 5-year-old daughter, Samantha, precious child, was kidnapped and murdered in 2002. Aaron, what is your reaction to Gardner's ability to violate his parole so many times and still live on the outside?
It is infuriating.
Steve Cardian, the spokesperson for the Corrections Department, responded to this news that, oh, there were all these parole violations by saying, quote, there was nothing to indicate that he would do this or allegedly do this. I guess one can always look back, but we don't have the luxury. Bunk! In 2000, there was a psychiatrist who testified he was predatory and a danger to society, begged them not to release him, and said that he would attack girls again.
Yes, Jane, we've talked about broken justice before, and we see here where the district attorney's office and the court system failed. The psychiatrist had indicated that he was likely to commit again, and he did, and he was only given a short sentence of prison. All the red flags that occurred post him being released were red flags, but the probation department may not have been able to act upon those red flags because of the minor degree in nature. Although they are red flags, they should have been looked at closer.
What? Okay, 4 of the infractions to his parole involved letting the battery on his ankle bracelet run low. 1, Mark Eiglarsh, for missing a meeting with his parole officer, and 1 for alleged marijuana possession that apparently couldn't be substantiated. Why not? Why not? And this is what they go on to say, Mark. Oh, these are considered minor. Quite frankly, if we were to blanket the system of parolees with minor offenses, we would overwhelm the system. We'd close the system down.
Jane, is that your man? Is that your man voice? I don't know what that was.
My bureaucrat voice.
Bureaucratic voice. Okay, let me respond. Yeah, in hindsight, I do agree with this. In hindsight, it's easier to go back and say, my God, we should have nailed him on one of these, what we call technicals. But these technical violations are difficult to prove, and you can't launch someone for 10, 20 years, typically on these types of offenses. It's easy to do that looking back, but at the time, they were minor technicalities that were probably dealt with to the best of their level of ability at the time.
Yeah, you know what? The Corrections Department fought like heck to keep us from learning this, okay? There was an effort to stop these documents from being released. Let me get to this. This man who molested a 13-year-old girl, it turns out, is the father of twin boys. John Gardner never married the mother. We believe she is Jariah Baker. Here she is from her Facebook page. Baker and Gardner lived together in 2009, not far from Escondido High School, Steve Cardian. That's where 14-year-old Amber Dubois disappeared. To her credit, Baker is now working with authorities on this case.
And Jane, hopefully she can provide them with some insight and information into the case. The timing, the location of where she went missing and where he was at the time that she went missing is just too coincidental.
It's so disturbing, and we're going to stay on top of this one.